If you're looking to earn more money as a freelance transcriber, or basically just diversify your income sources as a freelance transcriber, then this video is for you. If you're a newbie transcriber, then this video will also be of use to you because you learn some of the skills and services you can offer your clients and what you can diversify into to earn more money. Welcome to this video. My name is David and I hope you're well wherever you are around the world. So, in this video, we'll look at 11 transcription related jobs and services for transcribers wanting to diversify their income. One thing I'd like to you guys to note is that I'll show you what you can diversify into, and in the links below in this YouTube description, I'll hopefully add videos to some of the things that you can learn, some potentially courses that I've seen that you can take to learn the different skills, and hopefully they can help you diversify your freelance transcription skills into different avenues. So welcome, and I hope that you feel at home. If by any chance you hear chickens in the background, it's time for them to make the chicken noises. So let's begin. So number one, we'll just look at the outline or the approach of this particular video. Number one is why diversify. Number two, where do you offer these services? Number three, what are the related jobs and services that we're going to cover? And then we'll just do a quick summary of this video. So number one, why diversify? Obviously, you need to diversify your skills as a freelance transcriber, to diversify your income, to avoid low season, to make more money. And also, one of the aspects is that every time there's competition, there's either competition from AI-powered tools that help clients to automatically transcribe their videos, and some of these tools are so good that clients just need to drop in their audio and just pick out the transcript on the other end. There is no need for a transcriber for some of these clients. So there's competition from that angle, there's competition from other freelancers, etc. But the most important one is to diversify your income and also even avoid low season. Next up, where do you offer these services? Now, I'll broadly put in Upwork and Fiverr here, and also put in direct clients. And this video may not be straightforward for people who freelance on sites like Rev, Go Transcript, etc. Because potentially what they offer, the services that you can offer on those sites might be a little bit limited, but we're going to cover a couple of those services that you can offer on those sites. So you go to Upwork, probably because you want to diversify into a service that we are going to cover here. Gigs on Fiverr, you can set up gigs on Fiverr for all these 11 things that we are going to talk about today. And a 12th one as your transcription service that you already offer. For direct clients, let's say you transcribe podcast episodes for clients, then you can offer the services as a side and potentially earn yourself more money from just one podcast. Let's say you earn maybe $1 per minute. So you transcribe a 60-minute podcast, that's $60. Do a couple of other things, and by the end of that particular podcast, you've already diversified and made about $200. So let's get into it. And skill number one that you can learn is captioning. So captioning is more or less the display of text on TV or visual screen. Could be a mobile phone, laptop, etc. But more or less, this is a skill that I believe transcribers or transcriptionists need to have. Why? What happens to the transcripts you create? Potentially, clients hire somebody else to do the captions for them. So that is one aspect that you can always, or one of the services and jobs that you can offer your clients. That is direct clients, clients on Upwork, setting up gigs on Fiverr. So those are some of the few things that you can do. And we'll switch off and move to something like our browser here and see, let's say captioning. There we go. We search for captioning, and the essence for this is so that we can see what is available on the different aspects that we look at. So you can see the different options here. I will add professional synced subtitles or captions for your videos. You can see how much people are charging, how much this person is actually being paid. Some of these are just social media captions, but for video captions, you can just scroll down and see black and white captions and subtitles. This one looks good. So you just need to come in, see what these sellers are selling For example, if you click on that, you can see among the clients, etc. That's really awesome. Embedded subtitles, see what they're offering, and then think outside the box. As for where to learn, I have a ton of videos on subtitling on this channel. You can also check out the description below to see what's available. So, and also when it comes to captioning, one thing that I need you to understand is that there are other services that you can offer under captioning. For example, banning in subtitles to a video. Now, you don't really need to go to learn about banning in subtitles to a video from a course or something. You can just watch a YouTube tutorial. But some clients just need you to ban in subtitles to their video. They have the video and they have the SRT file. So the job number one, or the service number one you can offer your clients to make more money is captioning. And then number two is writing podcast show notes. Now, podcast show notes are more or less like summaries of the podcast. Now, the reason why I'm saying this is because if you're working with direct clients or clients on Upwork or Fiverr, where you actually interact with them, most of them probably just want you to transcribe the audio. What if this client has a blog or something? You can offer them a service to write podcast show notes, which are summaries or more or less of what what is in the podcast, the interviewer, some links to the resources that are mentioned in the video, etc. And these are services that you can offer and that can help you a lot, especially if you're looking to make a good amount of money. For example, you come up with an agreement like for like a 700 word article or podcast show notes, you'll be charging $50 or something. Really depends on what you're looking at here. So, and as always, if we look at what's being available or what's available here on Fiverr, we can say podcast show notes. And you can see clearly there are 1729 services available. I will double your podcast effective with detailed podcast show notes, so you can see what this entails, how these different freelancers here set out their gigs, etc. And if you have direct clients, you can offer these to minimize the competition. And also potentially one of the key points when trying to negotiate with clients is that they improve the SEO, that is the search engine optimization of the podcast, more or less now to the blog side of it. And hopefully you can get yourself some clients to actually work with you. Now, that's podcast show notes. Let's move on. Editing audio and audio podcast. So a skill that I always recommend is that you try and learn horizontally and vertically. And what I mean in this is that let's assume you transcribe the audio. And let's assume your client has an audio guy. What if the audio guy falls sick? What if the audio guy decides they want to leave? Where does the client turn to? You need to learn some of these skills so that in case of that eventuality, then you'd be there to offer your client the audio editing service, and basically this will earn you a good amount of money just by diversifying. So in assumption here, let's assume you transcribe for the client, you caption, let's assume videos for the client, you write podcast show notes, you edit their audio, and basically this might be too much for you sometimes, but I'm just trying to help you out here to think outside the box. What more can you offer to make more money and hopefully diversify your income streams? So audio editing, I'll leave all links to potentially courses and videos, and you can also search on YouTube on videos about audio editing using applications like Audacity, because most clients that potentially do this use the free application like Audacity, etc. So next up, we have editing video podcasts, YouTube videos, etc. Video is exploding right now, and the honest truth is that people are more engaged with video than probably with written content. I may be wrong, but I believe that the span of the human being has really shortened and we are more or less visual learners. So let's assume your client records videos. They may be old, they may not have the time to edit the videos. What if you as a transcriber can also edit the videos? That is a plus for you, and it's a skill that I'd recommend you acquire along the way so that you can be editing videos for your clients, etc. You can go for specific applications, Adobe Premiere Pro, Camtasia, Filmora, applications like Descript that automatically transcribe videos. You can use to edit audio, edit videos, etc. So editing video for your clients, Upwork, Fiverr, direct clients is one of those things that I'd recommend you as a freelance transcriber to learn. Next up, let's look at proofreading or editing AI generated transcripts. The truth is that artificial intelligence and machine learning has come a long way, and we cannot ignore the fact that clients nowadays use applications like otter.ai, descript.com, Trint, Sonics, HappyScribe, you name them, to automatically transcribe their audio files into transcripts. Now, because these AI-powered tools are not 100% accurate, some clients request for proofreading, correcting, repunctuation, etc. So it is important to familiarize yourself with this type of content, the AI tools, and I've covered a ton of them on this channel. Just familiarize yourself with the interface. Some clients will invite you to their accounts or to their accounts so that you can actually be editing for them. You can check out gigs on Descript, on Upwork and Fiverr, and I believe there are a ton of jobs right there for you to actually help out. So teach yourself how to do proofreading, and I believe as a transcriber you know how to do proofreading, but more or less teach yourself what these other applications that clients are using look like, how they work, so that if you get a client that actually uses these applications, you already know what they need. Let's look at the service or job number 6, YouTube video SEO. Now, YouTube video SEO is more or less search engine optimization. By default, YouTube is the second largest search engine after Google. Now, everybody wants their videos to rank number 1. I'm hoping that this video is going to actually rank number 1. But now you need to do a lot of SEO to rank number 1. Your clients, direct clients, clients of Fiverr, clients you transcribe for, potentially have a YouTube channel. You can offer them a service on YouTube video SEO to write their titles, to do their thumbnails, to do their description, basically to transcribe their videos so that you can add captions to improve the video SEO. Those are all services you can offer, more or less, to your clients to promote the videos. There's just, for example, if you look at video SEO, there's a ton of things that you can do as a side gig for different clients. So think about that, and I'll leave links in the description below to help you out where you need to learn some of these things. Next up is creating audiograms. Now, audiograms are more or less social media snippets where you see a waveform, and more or less they're usually less than 2 minutes. And if we actually look at what's available, let's say here, what's available, let's look at audiograms. Audiograms, there are about 170 services available. Therefore, for this, you have a higher chance of getting into the audiogram world than any other service we've covered right now. Podcast waveform audiogram, and you can see people actually selling 33 for your podcast, these waveforms. And there are a ton of applications you can use. You can use things like Headliner.app, you can use Descript, you can use Wave.co, I believe. But I have tutorials on the channel on how you can actually create audiograms using Descript, Headliner, etc. Just check them out and then see how people actually, let's say we look at this seller. How are they charging? Basic 30 minutes video, $5. So music placement, standard silver 60 minutes, 2 days delivery, $10. This is more or less time consuming, but either way, for gold, $15 for 90 minutes video. Most of these are more or less automated, and this guy has already 89 favorites and guy or lady or something, but they're good ratings, excellent ratings. So creating audiograms is something that you can venture into as a freelance transcriber. transcribe your client's podcast, ask them if they need a snippet of 2 minutes for social media so they can promote the video, and then you create a good social media video with an audiogram, a progress bar, etc. And that is actually going to boost the engagement for your client's work. So creating audiograms. Next up, graphic design using Canva. So Canva is more or less one of the easiest and the best graphic design applications available. It's free to use, but there's some some features you have to pay for. But for the best part of it, you can design graphics for your clients as a freelance transcriber without ever needing to pay for it. So there are a couple of things. Let's assume your client does podcast. You might be required to do episode thumbnails. That is, if you're on episode 20, it's about how to design graphics using Canva, then you can create that particular design, etc. Next up, you can create social media posts for your client. If you actually diversify into social media management for your client as a transcriber, that is something that clients are always looking for. And one thing I'd like you all to note is that if a client finds a good freelancer, just know that they will not want to let that freelancer go. They'd rather have you with them, pay you more, even pay for you to learn new skills so that you can actually help them out with their business. So graphic design using Canva to create episode graphics, and I think we can look at some few episode graphics here. Episode graphics, not sure if there's anything like that, but I will create posters for Doctors Who. I will design cover art for your podcast episode. These are things that you can see, and you can see that the services are not that are not many. It's just 152 services, so that's something you can do. So just teach yourself some Canva. It's pretty easy. Links in the description for you to try them out. Next up is WordPress management. Now, WordPress is more or less, I like to say WordPress is as easy as Microsoft Word. Now, some clients are too busy and they want you to do this. This is what happens. You transcribe a podcast. You have a transcript ready. What do they want? They want you to go into the WordPress backend, create a blog post, paste in the transcript, and then share that particular blog post. That's the simple aspect of it. You may also need to include pictures and all that. Alternatively, you will be required by your clients to manage the content on WordPress, whether it's for the podcast transcripts or for just the blogs that they're creating. Because another way, especially for clients to boost their podcast is more or less creating show notes, which we mentioned earlier, and then adding the show notes with the title of that particular podcast, whatever it was, and then adding now the graphics and everything in between. They may have that particular copy from somebody else, but probably they don't have the time to do that. So that is where you come in. As a freelance transcriber that has diversified into WordPress management, you can do that job for your clients and they'll pay you a good amount of money. So teach yourself WordPress. It's free. I do have a couple of videos about WordPress and all that, but on YouTube there are a ton of videos you can watch to learn how WordPress works, and it's pretty simple. You just need to learn the backend, and then you'll be seeing what is published. Most of the blogs that you read are actually made using WordPress. Next up, we have personal assistant, sending emails, contacting guests for podcasts, etc. So some clients are extremely busy. And if you've been on Upwork, I've been there for about 10 years, you'll see people saying, hey, I need somebody to assist me, send emails, contact guests, etc. These are things that you'll see around. And as I've mentioned before, if you have a good client that really trusts and values you, teach yourself how to be more or less of an assistant. I believe there are courses for this, but it's more or less how you write, let's say the emails, how you contact the guest, more or less, if you accent English accent, especially if you're contacting guests via video or audio, those are some of the few things, but more or less the communication needs to be top notch. Some clients need you to do the heavy lifting, so they focus on, let's more or less say, doing the content that they need to do. So you can be a personal assistant, diversify into that, make more money, get more free time, etc. The last and final bit of it is translation services. Now, you can offer translation services to your clients. And what I mean here is a client needs to reach more audiences. Let's assume you know 2 more languages. Let's say you transcribe in English, but you know Spanish, you know German. You can translate the content that you've created for your client into German. And more or less, this works really well, especially for captioning or some, in this sense, subtitling, where you need to translate the transcript into potentially another transcript that is in that particular language, and then create the translated text into subtitles. So that is something I can recommend. If you know a language, just make sure you move on and see if you can offer that as a service. So, for example, if we look at Fiverr again, let's say translation. Just search for that, and for translation, there are a ton of gigs available, 45,000. Let's narrow down. Let's go to something like Swahili translation. There are about 312 services. So you need to look at all these different, and you can see people are really selling their gigs here, and you can see it's something that you can actually do. Swahili English, this is Fiverr's choice. Pretty good. So my belief is that the different services and jobs we've talked about can help you as a freelance transcriber. So do all this. For example, for your client, let's assume they needed translation services. You translate from one language to the other, create subtitles for their videos, for potentially if it's on YouTube, if it is some social media snippet they needed in another language, you can do that. So my parting shot here is diversify. There are a ton of ways to diversify if you want to make more money, have more free time, and more or less avoid low season, and also because competition is becoming stiffer by the day, you at least cushion yourself from all this. So you can diversify into captioning, create podcast show notes, edit audio and video files, proofread, that is AI generated content, do YouTube video SEO. You can create audiograms for social media videos to promote podcasts, etc. You can do graphic design. You can do personal assistant or VA work. You can do WordPress management. You can do translation services. Bottom line, diversify your freelance skills to avoid scenarios where there is no work and probably AI has taken over some of the things that transcribers do. So I believe this video has been in-depth enough, and it will help you diversify your income sources as a freelance transcriber. Thank you so much for watching, and I'm happy to have you as the audience for this video. Thanks for watching. My name is David. Until next time, stay safe and never stop learning.